Hi, in this clip I'm going to go through the scenario cards, okay? Now the scenarios are in all the tip of the tongue boxes. I find they're really important and a really useful way of teaching the children how to talk in front of an audience. The children can develop their confidence, they can develop their communication skills, they also develop their own little charisma and they realise their own potential. They learn to create little speeches when they're giving their presentations, and most importantly as well, they learn that it is very important to try and capture your audience's attention, okay? So you're talking about your speaking skills and listening skills, talking about eye contact, hand gestures, all those little things I would have in my prompt cards, your non-verbal behaviours as well, okay? So remember to stick that up in your oral language corner and remind the children to use that, all right? When you're doing the scenarios, you can link them into various parts of the curriculum. They can be linked into drama, okay? Where you can have your little telephone conversations with the juniors and they use props, maybe like toy telephones. As you move up the school, have more of a problem scenario with solutions and have them working in little groups. You can also integrate it if you're doing any ICT, maybe any PowerPoint presentation with older pupils, get them to create their advertisement, maybe stand up then and present it. Or sometimes people even just go on holidays and then when they come back, you know, you can give them a scenario of your tour guide in England, London, where you were visiting, please give me a presentation. And the children love to bring in some photographs. They might take them in a key fob, they might have a newspaper, if they're in a different country with a different language, and so on. So you can turn it into something that's quite exciting. And since the child knows about their holiday, they're quite, you know, they feel confident to talk about it. So it is about confidence boosting. Also, when children give their presentations, I tend to focus on the assessment, or the likes of 2 stars and a wish, so that even though it might not have been the best presentation, at least I can find 2 things that I thought were pretty good about it, and then just give them 1 thing to work on. Okay, so as well, by the whole class working together or in groups, and they get to see other people's presentations, I find that children learn a lot from each other, okay, listening to the good things that each person's presentation was about, or the little things that they should work upon, and you find the next person that does a presentation will do the very thing that you wanted the previous person to work upon. Okay, so it can be very, very effective. Okay, so looking at the different scenarios, you've got your junior scenarios are a mixture. They're a basically a type of telephone conversation. So you've got your formal conversations and your informal conversations, and here the children will learn about their different greetings and different farewells, the like tone of voice that they use, what questions they might use, replies, and so on. And you've got other scenarios, maybe with a problem and a solution, such as John spilled the orange juice on his homework, or Mummy got locked out of the house. So the children have to discuss, okay, what's the problem and what's the possible solutions, and come to a decision what could be the best solution, and so on. Now with the middle and senior classes, you've got a variety of scenarios now in the tip of the tongue boxes. You've got interview scenarios, you've got telephone scenarios, again with the formal and informal conversations, you've got procedural scenarios, persuasive scenarios like oral advertising, there's also like giving character descriptions, giving directions, and also some little tall tales thrown in there as well. Now I would be here all day, everyone through all the different scenarios that are there. So I'm just going to focus on one. But the main thing I have to say now about the scenarios, especially in the middle and senior classes, is that these scenarios that I have chosen, I've chosen them that they can fit into the different genres of writing. So if you're teaching procedural writing, go and find the scenarios that fit in with that, okay? Because there's lots of scenarios that require that presentation of step-by-step procedural instruction. Again, if you're teaching then persuasive writing, go and find the persuasive scenario tips that I have in the manual, and also some of those, okay, the cards from the box. Because again, it's been proven that if children are active in the oral language and talking about things and learning through oral language, that then if you move on to the written work, it tends to be more successful. And I certainly see that happening with the pupils. So at the minute in school, I am focusing on procedural writing, okay? I'm not procedural, apologies. I'm working on persuasive writing, and the children, and we haven't even used pen to paper yet, we haven't gone near any workbooks, we are just focusing on looking at the type of language that is persuasive, looking through magazines, Argus magazines, we're looking online videos, we have listened to a few radio reports and advertising and so on. And we have a collection of little phrases like buy one, get one free, while stocks last, using little words like just, or rhetorical questions like if, or would you, do you want to break away, those type of things, okay? We are working on slogans, having humour in there in your titles, maybe in your slogans, or maybe alliteration, something that's eye-catching. Talking about as well, using positive words instead of negative. So you're going to focus on the positive things about this new Silk Shine shampoo or whatever you're trying to persuade people to buy. You're not going to focus on the negative things that make them bald if they continue to use it, or something like that. So focusing on the positive, and focusing on positive adjectives and descriptive and lovely adverbs, okay? And of course, the rhetorical questions in there as well. So your flip chart can be very useful. I do have the learning points for all the different things in the Tip of the Tongue manual. For example, the interviews, I have got in there your interviewer goals and your interviewee goals. The language even there that I was talking about before, the persuasive language, is in there as well, if I can line it up. Okay, so it just gives it clearly there for the teacher to understand. The same then, as you can see, for the presentation scenarios, likewise then for the procedural scenarios and so on. All right, so there's a lot of helpful information in the teacher manual. But again, try and focus on the oral work before you move on to the writing, because you will find then that the writing is more successful. You're looking more then at mistakes such as punctuation and spelling mistakes, because the children have such a good grasp of the type of language that they can use, as well like your time connectives language, not, then after that following finally. So again, another flip chart page maybe with all those type of vocabulary words on them. All right, hopefully you found that helpful to get you started then in the scenarios.